Hi, this is the Peaceful Prepper, and today I'm looking over my winter car kit and getting it ready to put in my car, so I thought I'd go over it with you. But first, here are a few pictures I found online that I thought we all might enjoy. Ah yes, city streets after a snowfall, and getting your car back on the road after a snowfall. These are not cones the city put out. At least around Boston, people are very protective of the spaces they shovel out and stake their claim in unmistakable ways. Yes, that is an ironing board. And yes, that is a grandfather clock. Unfortunately, some parking space incidents have become violent, but more often people will express their displeasure in more socially acceptable ways, with anger and sarcasm. This is an actual Craigslist ad that someone posted. So let's get back to what I put in my winter car emergency kit. When I'm putting together any kit, I like to refer to these 12 areas that I talked about in my planning video, which I'll link below. These aren't absolute distinct categories, but I find it's helpful to review them to think about what areas are most important for this particular kit and if I'm missing something key. These are the priorities I came up with for my winter car kit. If something isn't on this list, it doesn't mean I don't have it, but I don't see it as being as important as these other things. Of course, I have flashlights in my car, some basic hygiene. Entertainment, mental health doesn't seem like an important category for this kit, which is designed for up to 24 hours or so. If I had kids, that area would go up in importance, probably quite a bit. Communication, first aid, personal safety, and tools don't really change year-round. So the focus of my winter kit is staying warm, snow and ice removal, water and food, knowing it can freeze in the car as opposed to get overheated and spoil in the hot weather. So let's take a look at what I'm going to be putting in my car for the winter. And you can see it's a lot of stuff. I don't have a very big car, and this takes up a good half of my hatchback space. So first, this is just an old sleeping bag, certainly not a compact one, as you can see, and I probably won't put this into the car probably until December, just to have a little bit more storage and grocery room, etc., until I really need it, because I also have a wool blanket that I'm going to be putting in there. So this will probably go in later. Okay. So this cooler I actually keep in the car year-round. In the summer I use it when I'm buying frozen food, just to keep it cold while I'm getting it home. And in the winter, I keep water in it, because it gives it a little more time before the water might freeze. And if it does freeze and crack, it contains the water rather than let it get all over my the back of my car. Right now I haven't filled up the water yet. I had time to do the video, so I thought I'd just get that done, and cleaning out bottles and filling them with water isn't going to take very long. I probably can get, I have 1/2 gallon bottle in here. Here, let me just, so I'll get close to, I have bottles for what would be 1.25 gallons. I'll probably get just under 1 gallon of water in here. I also put a really warm fleece jacket. So this is the bag that I'm using to store all my winter car stuff. So this bag can just be put in the car and taken out in the spring and kept together. So hopefully I will not be misplacing things so much anymore. So I'll just take this apart. So I have some food. It's pretty equivalent to 1 day of food from my Bob bag, sort of the same types of things. I'll put a link to that if you're interested in that. But then here I have long underwear, tops and bottoms, and wool socks. So if I got wet or just wasn't, wearing a lot of layers, if I got stuck and was cold, I can put these on. Then I actually have two, well, let me go one at a time. So this is a scraper. In New England, we get a lot of ice as well as snow. Even if I'm unprepared, if this is in the car and I don't have gloves, I'm still going to keep warmer and drier. So this might become a year-round item just in case I don't get my winter kit in the car in time. Oh, and then I have a pair of gloves, a wool hat. One thing that I haven't been able to find, but it's someplace around my apartment and I'll be adding it, is a balaclava. Then I actually have two shovels in the car. Let's see, is this? The first one is metal. I actually saw this on someone's YouTube channel quite a few years ago, and it was, I think it was less than $20. And it's really nice. It just, you put it together and you can expand it. Oop. Here, I'll show you both of them and I'll tell you why I have both. And this is just a small snow shovel, plastic. So they're about the same size. One, I like having two shovels because shoveling your car out, as you saw from the pictures earlier, is not the most fun part of winter. So if there's someone with me, it's great to be able to offer them a second shovel and have two people doing it. But this one is really nice if the snow is pretty light and not icy. This works just fine. And it is nice having a lighter shovel. It's more of a snow shovel than this. But in New England, we get a lot of ice. And this is much better if you've got snow that's iced over to kind of break it up. Whereas this is just not strong enough to do that. So that's why I like to have both in the car. Then I also have a couple of larger snow brushes and scrapers. Again, it's nice to have two in case someone's with me, but it extends. So this, again, you can make it as long as you want. And what I really like is this turns, the brush turns. I think you can see it. So you can make this as long as you need and brush off the snow from the top of your car, just like this. You can just push it off the other side of the car, which I really like. So that's that one. I also have just a 3-wick candle. I think this is a beeswax candle, which burns much cleaner if you're going to have it in a smaller space, and some matches. I have a wool blanket. And then the things that I need to get, in addition to the balaclava, I have an old pair of winter boots that are someplace around here in some closet that I keep in the car just in case I'm not wearing my regular winter boots. But they don't have the best tread. They're kind of worn. So I also have these, but I can put these on over any shoes, but also the boots, and it gives me much better traction. And then I keep it in its original plastic bag so it doesn't snag on anything or if they're dirty. Let's see, I also will be adding some hand warmers that I haven't bought yet. And I usually put in a small container of ice melt or cat litter that I also have to pick up that I ran out of. Then there are a few things that I already have in the car that are important if I had to spend the night in the car. So in addition to, I have the wool blanket in this, and I'll add the down sleeping bag, the old down sleeping bag. But I have several of the emergency, both just sort of the thin emergency Mylar blankets, but also a thicker one. I have an emergency bivvy from Adventure Medical, which is part of my hiking kit. Well, I'll say that I keep my hiking emergency kit in the car. I keep those things in the car because really any hiking I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be driving to. So I leave that in the car permanently. So I have access to that fire making kit. I keep an emergency bivvy in there. I have a one of those reflective window screen for heat in the sun that you put on your dashboard. And I have duct tape. And with those items, especially the emergency blanket, the reflective screen, and the duct tape, I could section off part of my car so I'm not having to keep the whole car warm. So if I'm in the front seat waiting, I could put it behind me so my body heat isn't warming up the whole car or the candle or whatever I'm doing. If I'm sleeping in the back seat, I can screen off the front and the hatchback part so that the heat can stay with me, or to put it above me, which would keep the heat from rising. So those are things that aren't in this kit. They're already in the car year round, but could be very useful in the winter. I also have in my hiking kit a metal cup and bottle. So if the water is frozen or if I want to melt snow, I have that, and I have a water filter. Thanks so much for watching. I would love to hear what you put in your car for winter emergencies and any suggestions you have for my kit. Be safe, be happy.